On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, the Avs get past the Chicago Blackhawks in the greatest hockey game you will ever see this season. Can't wait to talk about it. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in and making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. If you want to get in on the conversation, join our subtext. Link is in the show notes below. Chat with Kyle and I one-on-one. Get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, and share it on this very podcast. Get to the subtext people. A little bit later, they chime in on this game, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So, Kyle, the point is to get 2 points. You did that. Congratulations. Yes. I think that's really the only check that you can have for this one. But like the way you went about doing it, for whatever reason, like I think the Chicago Blackhawks are going to petition the NHL to play 82 games against the Avalanche next year because for some reason, they just match up well against them and they play well against them and they get points off of them. In the 4 games this year, they Avs lost 2 outright, 1-1, and then they just won this one in the shootout. So I wasn't expecting a game like this, but let's just get your thoughts and we'll go from there.
Yeah, it's funny. You're back into another shootout. And Chris, give me a couple minutes, man. I got to come down from this thriller of a game.
Yeah.
Especially after watching that Carolina WrestleMania.
That was fun. At least that game had life.
Yeah, sure.
I think this one didn't, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, you went to Shootout versus Calgary, and then that's to be expected, I guess. There was a little bit of a burp and a hiccup in that game, and you ended up with 1 point. And this Chicago game, it was just anemic. This is it's kind of the story that we've had on a couple of these Avalanche games as of late. Like the 30-second hiccup to like completely choke the game away. Like you want the Avs, where's the push? Where's like just get the win? Where's that mentality? You're just trying to get through, and we always say like at least nobody got injured. You almost didn't have that in this game. Like you saw Nate just go down, and it was scary, and it kind of woke the boys up a little bit. Like, okay, we gotta do something here. Things are getting out of control, and the game kind of turned from there. But up until that point, I was fighting to watch that game.
Well, I think it was, they were kind of going through the motions, and then as the game was winding down, and they got that 1 goal from Makar. And you're only down 1. It's like, okay, why not? Why not just that's you said, where's the push? That was the push at the end because you had a chance to send this thing into overtime. Let's go do that. And I think like the big difference between this one and the Calgary game is like the one you were up against Calgary. And so therefore, like you're in the lead, you want to hold that lead. And you while we're winding the season down, you're pretty much locked into where you're locked into. You still want to win games. You still want to play well. You still want to get points. And for Calgary, you're up. So you're going to play the game to continue to win that game. Obviously that didn't happen. You had, your lapses and Calgary took advantage of that. For this one, you were down. And, you had the Malinsky goal that got taken away like early on. And I thought in my head, I'm not even kidding you. When that goal got taken away, I was like, is this going to be a game where, you had a goal early, got taken off the board, and now you're going to struggle to score the rest of this game? And it turned out to be exactly that. So I think because it was the other way around than Calgary, where you were down, I think it was just get through this game. Don't get blown out. You don't want to get blown out by Chicago. You want to play. I don't think I seen a lot of like just disdain on social media after this game about how, they just phoned it in. And I'm not going that far. But was it their best effort? No. I mean, I think it wasn't. And I think it was we're down. Let's, just get through this game unscathed, which they didn't because Jonathan Drouin got injured. And you mentioned Marty Nashis got injured, which looked ugly, but he came back in and played. So we'll see what's going on with Drouin. But I think just because they were down in the way that this game was going, they just, if you're watching on YouTube, I have, they hit cruise control. And that's kind of where they went. But you're playing Chicago, and Chicago's not gonna to blow you out of the arena. So you were close at the end. So you put in some more effort. Hey, let's see if we can go get 2 points in this thing and escape here with 2 points. And that's what they did.
Chris, was it not Chicago that reviewed Nathan McKinnon's 1,000th point?
It was.
So when that call at the beginning of the game happened, I said, "Oh, is this how Chicago is going to be?" And I expected when Malinsky's goal came off the board for there to be a fire. Like, okay, this is how they're going to play us. And they played kind of rough and playing a little extra. And then you had Spencer Knight in goal. That didn't help things either. But you wanted to see just a little bit more. I can understand the phone it in mentality. I don't subscribe to it, but I mean, especially when you're like 0 for 4 on the power play, that's abysmal. And even if you went 25%, we have a different story in this game. There's so many things that you wish would be a little bit different. And like when you go back and you're watching this game wire to wire, I watch these games primarily muted, especially when they're on TNT. I just can't. So when you're watching just strictly the passing and their body language, the passing was just ugly. And there was a lot of turnovers early in this game. So when it comes into like cruise control, phoning it in, I don't think it's that far. I think it's just, there was just no, I mean, what do you lose here? Nothing. What do you gain here? Nothing. You're just getting through the game.
And I feel like it was, they came out, and I thought they were playing well. And I think that's how they're going to take the rest of these games is we'll go out, see what we can do here. If we can get a lead, play with a lead. And then if we don't, we'll just kind of, like I say, hit cruise control. Because I thought they were doing some good things. Like I said to myself, they're getting more net front presence and trying to hit the bumper pass and passes in front of the net than I have seen them all year long. And, Chicago's a smaller team than they are. So I'm sure that was in the game plan to do that. And if you look on Natural Stat Trick with the heat map, that tells that story. Like they're all around the net front. So that's good. You see them doing it, but nothing was materializing out of it. You got some sloppiness in your transitions, which were fine. And then when you enter the zone, everything would blow up. Yeah, the passing wasn't the great. It was just nothing was. We're so accustomed to Avalanche hockey being up here, and that was like mediocre hockey. And I guess when you're playing a team like Chicago, you can play mediocre hockey and still come out with two points. And I think they're just happy to do that. But it was a struggle. It was a grind. At times, it was. What's going on here? Are we just waiting for the clock to click down? But I think just because they were close at the end, maybe they didn't expect to be. We're like, okay, we can turn it up for 3 or 4 minutes, and that's what you got. and then even in overtime, Avalanche in overtime are usually pretty aggressive. They're not one of those teams that really just sit back and just go back and forth over the blue line. They were doing that. Yeah. They were doing it a lot more than normal. And then you get to the shootout, and what was it today? It was your backup goalie. It was your team doctor. No, it wasn't. They went through. They actually put out the right guys in this one, and McKinnon with a really nice move in that shootout. But it's like you want to be happy because you got the 2 points, but it's how you went about getting those 2 points that I think are making people upset.
Yeah, and you were talking about the narrative post game of everybody saying like they phoned it in. I also speak out against the counter narrative where people are saying, "Well, the power play looks." I'm tired of saying good looking power play when you're 0 for 4. It's like being a Rockies baseball fan when you're saying, well, at least we put a run on the board. We still lost, but you put a run on the board. No, successful power plays, you get goals. Like, that's good power plays get goals. So that's I don't like saying, yeah, it's a good looking power play. Like things, yeah, it's a good looking power play when you're going 2 for 4, 3 for 4, even 1 for 4. If you walk away with a goose egg, it's not a good power play.
Let me see, because I'm on
because I say that because the penalty kill looked great. There were a couple times that LOC could have broke out. They were cooking the puck a couple times, caught Chicago in a long shift between their first power play and their second power play unit. They're really utilizing the proper penalty killing methods. But in games like this is where you really want to exercise and test what your power play could do, because you're going 0 for 4 in the playoffs is not going to be conducive for a win.
Yeah, for your 4 power plays, I mean, you won all 4 of the opening faceoffs in those 4 power plays. So right there, we are cruising. Your first one, that's where you gave up the shorthanded goal. You got 2 shots on goal in that one. In your second one, you had nothing. That was their worst one, was the second one. And the third one, that one you had 1 shot on goal, and then in the last one you had 1 shot on goal, and it came with like 5 seconds left in that power play.
Yeah, so none of that is good power play.
Not really. Like your even ones, your power play 2 and power play 4 were bad. Your power play 1 and power play 3. Well, power play 1 is where you gave up the shorthanded goal, so that's obviously not good. But yeah, I mean, it's not exactly where you want it to be. But Chicago, oddly enough, has a good power play themselves and a good penalty kill. But still, like you should be at this stage in the season, you should be kind of rolling there.
Yeah.
All right, more to get to with this. One other thing I want to talk about, and how this was just kind of felt like, just going through the motions type of stuff. And then individual players we'll talk about, especially goalie. Goalie was that's who stood up in this game, Mr. Scott Wedgwood. So we'll do all that next. All right, let's hear from Game Time. There's nothing like watching basketball live. The energy of the crowd, the sound of the sneakers on the hardwood, and maybe even a celebrity sighting courtside. And if you want to catch a game in person, Game Time makes getting tickets easier than ever. If you had the opportunity, would you be going to this Auburn game? I wonder what tickets are for that. Yeah, man. They're going up against not Duke.
Yeah, they're going up. It's Auburn, Duke. No,
is it Auburn? No. Why am I blanking on who was the other?
It's Auburn, Duke, and you had to ask me this.
I don't know. I know. I don't know why I'm asking now, but they're gonna win basically. So
they're a Cinderella story. Like you have your guy go down, you have Broom come back. They're the feel good story, and everybody's cheering for Auburn.
Gotta love it. So, and you can get those tickets over at Game Time at Game Time Picks. That's their new feature. It filters out the fluff and shows you only the best deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time scrolling through thousands of tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today, because what time is it, Kyle?
It's game time.
And I think it's Florida.
Florida, Auburn. It's Florida.
It just hit me. So, all right. There's one other thing in here where the Avs in this game outshot the Blackhawks when it comes to our Corsi and Fenwick scores here. 76-4, 50 against. That's for Corsi. And then for Fenwick, which does not count block shots, your Fenwick 4 for the Avs, 58-34. So you had 18 shots blocked by the Blackhawks. But how many shots did you actually have on goal if you were the Avalanche? Oh, it went away. We're
31
31. So you're just firing, which like it's the statement of like good things happen when you throw pucks on net. Well, it's the on net part that's important there.
Quality over quantity.
You know, you that's not bad. Like 31 is good. 31 is good. 31 is a really good number for shots on goal. But when you look at the Fenwick and you're at 76 of shots you just directed towards the net, that's a lot of missed opportunities. So, you know, you're just throwing, if you got an opportunity, you're doing it. So on one hand, I like that, but it's another one. The other side of it is you got to be a little bit more controlled of where you're shooting the puck. And I think we're just willy-nilly, we got to fire it. So there's good and bad to that. And I think this game was a little bit of bad.
And you know where you really see this stat shine and these instances really under a magnifying glass is where the passing is so shoddy. Because as soon as you get that puck, you know, well, we can't really pass the lane because we are turning it over. And this happened early, especially with Cale Makar on that first. You saw him turning the puck over, just some bad shots allowing. And that's what happened on that first power play. Just bad passes, bad shots automatically sends things the other way. So when you lose confidence in, okay, we're not tape to tape, we're not firing there, I'm just going to take it and take that shot. Chicago has nothing left to play for. So, of course, they're going to be sacrificing their body. They're going to take the rest of the season off.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't just fire at will in these kind of games. You have to reestablish the passing game to open that back up. And when they feel that pressure, they automatically, they just cut it off and they just start shooting at will. And I just wish they would control that just a little bit.
Because I don't want to sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, because there's times where we tell the Avalanche, you know, the whole shoot mentality of, you know, you're trying to get too pretty and too cute and have that perfect pass, have that perfect goal. Like, I would rather see this than that. I'd rather see just shooting the puck and getting 76 shots directed towards the net than, you know, just getting cute with everything. Okay, so if we're going to do this, if we're going to throw everything, like, I'm not saying be more selective. You need to be more controlled.
Yeah.
And if you have those shots, and I know it's difficult because, you know, the other team is trying to, and they're putting their sticks in the passing lanes and everything like that. Maybe it's this quality over quantity.
Yep.
I think maybe that's the best way to
quality over quantity.
Right. So, all right. The other thing we'll get into here is individual players. We got to start with Scott Wedgwood because he was fantastic again.
Yep.
So it's going to be an interesting thing in the playoffs to see how Jared Bednar handles this, because you usually don't go to your backup in the playoffs. It's you're riding your A1 guy. The way that both of these guys are playing right now, I don't know. I don't know the answer to it. Well, I think the answer to it is no. We're just going to do what we normally do, and that's, you know, you go with Mackenzie Blackwood. But you are as confident, as we've been saying for a while, of Scott Wedgwood. And he had another really good, like, it could have been that blowout. Mm-hmm. How we were saying, like, you know, the Blackhawks are not going to, you know, blow you out of the arena. I say that, maybe I take it back a little bit already, because they could have if it wasn't for Scott Wedgwood.
And, you know, I think, honestly, the mentality going into this playoffs is you're riding the hot hand going into the season. And you're going to hold it that way. And then it's going to be nice to have two goalies that you feel confident in. But honestly, that first round series against Dallas, it's going to be very telling seeing who leads it. It's not going to be so much your starter. It's just, it's almost like a rotation. And you know exactly what you're getting out of both. And you're going to be riding the hot hand throughout the rest of the playoffs.
Well, I think that's what it like. So you go with Blackwood to start, right? And if for whatever reason he's, you know, he doesn't have that hot hand, he might have a short leash, because you are confident. Like if for whatever, I mean, I don't anticipate that happening because he's playing just as well. So, but you have that in your back pocket, that if he, you know, goes out and gives up, you know, game 2 of Stanley Cup Finals, like Tampa did, gives up 7 goals, maybe you need it just to sit this one out. I don't know. Or you let him play. You know, you just have options now.
Alternate your starts.
I don't.
Wedgwood, Blackwood, Wedgwood, Blackwood.
I would not do that in the postseason. I mean, you could, with the way that these guys are playing, just not miss a beat, and then you're giving them rest.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think you kind of just you need that consistency in the playoffs. But like I said, it's good to have this problem.
Yeah.
Really good. Where's my stats here? So, I mean, not much to go over. Obviously, you had Brock Nelson and Val Nichushkin with assists. Nathan McKinnon gets an assist. Nashus and Makar with your goals. Makar added an assist as well. I thought, again, I think Logan O'Connor is playing really good hockey. He had a couple opportunities to net another goal, but I thought he had a good game, skating everywhere like we're kind of accustomed to with him. Anybody else? I don't think anybody played bad. It was just they were not playing all out, and it's weird. It was a weird game.
You had some egregious turnovers by Kale and Nate, but they cleaned those up. But like you had the typical Nate skate into somebody, wasn't fast enough, throw his head back, didn't understand, could not compute, rinse, wash, repeat. And then I will say on the positive side, it's nice to see Kiwi back in there.
Yeah.
I feel like LOC is building something nice, and I would like to see him carry this momentum into the playoffs. But LOC and Kiwi Ronta, I really appreciated seeing both of them on the ice.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like Logan O'Connor had this massive impact on the game, but there were moments where like he's just pucks in the corner and negating an icing, like stuff like that. Those
almost had a shorthanded because of Nichushkin.
Yep, he almost had one like there. And I think in overtime I think he had a close one in overtime. But you just it's nothing new with him. The effort's always there, but when he's when it's really on display, it's noticeable. So
yeah.
All right, so we got some subtext people to get to. We have our sound check, and then we're going to wrap this bad boy up. We'll do that next. Here from FanDuel, the NCAA tournament that we were just talking about is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. And right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 in extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories, which we don't really have any of those with this Final Four, to even who's cutting down the nets. Auburn Tigers, maybe?
Bruce Pearl, maybe.
Anyone? So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Once again, it is FanDuel.com. All right, let's hear from our subtext crew. I don't know how this is going to go. I haven't really looked at any of these yet. So let's see. Kay says, I think it was Coyle who recently said very succinctly, we got what we came for. Take the points and get out of town. It's bizarre that this awful team plays the Avs so hard. Soundcheck, they're going with Rush. One little victory is what Kay is going with.
Good pick. Love Rush. And hey, the 2024-2025 Chicago Blackhawks are the 2022 Arizona Coyotes.
It's really like the 2020 through 2024 Arizona Coyotes, because they just seem to have your number for a number of years. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. They just get up to play against the Avs for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't think the Avs beat the Coyotes that entire year going to the Cup.
Did they?
I think the Coyotes beat them every matchup.
I can't believe that.
I
have to go back and
I'm fairly confident in that.
I got a hockey reference that. That'd be amazing. Joe says, I don't know what that game was. Hopefully Drew N is okay. Bad Company by the band Bad Company off the album Bad Company. I was thinking about them the other day. That is legendary. Just to name a song after your band, like Iron Maiden did that. Who else has done that? There's been a couple bands that have done that. But they went the extra step and named the album Bad, which bands do that. They just have a self-titled album. But you had a song and the band name and the band album. Love it.
I like the 5-finger cover of it too. It's got a vibe.
Let's see. Christina says almost turned that game off. Never, ever, never. Christina was so disappointed in most of that game. Feel bad for Sam. Not the first goal recalled on him for offside, which is true. The boys waited until the last few minutes to win the game. Not a good look. At least we got 2 points. Nate getting more penalties lately than points is interesting. Got to get these next 4 points. I was never in the mode of and I never am, of I'm going to turn this game off. Number one, I can't, because what the heck are we going to talk about if we shut these games off? But we should have learned by now that, never turn an Avalanche game off. They're never out of it. And go back to what you said earlier, I'm not as down on how they played in this game as a lot of other people are. It wasn't great, but I've seen them play a lot worse. I've seen them play a lot worse trying. So I'm not in that room. I'm close. I'm adjacent, but
I've never turned off an Avalanche game, but I wish I did. I'd feel better about the 2 points. If I just woke up and saw they won a shootout, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. Let's go. But watching that game, I feel terrible.
Yeah. Vargar says shouldn't have been that difficult, but Makar made it happen. And he's always loved Spencer Knight.
Oh, me too.
Game. So that was a good move by them to pick him up at the deadline, because they got to start making some moves that are progressing them, and that could be one of them to solidify a goalie position. Because you don't want to get into this Red Wings infinite rebuild if you're Chicago. So
I remember when they made that move, I reached out to you and said I hate Chicago more because they have Spencer Knight.
Easily. Let's see. Cody says, I'm just not sure what to make of that one. As far as it's concerned, fix up the power play and have a bit more attention to detail, because being pushed to a shootout by Chicago just isn't a good look. And Jewin got hurt. That's great. So
I think it happens. He's a seasonal employee.
Yeah. If this wasn't Chicago, what would the talking points be? I think does that play into all of this on why we're just so unhappy with it, is because it was the opponent?
No, you bring up a really good thing. If this is the Calgary game played exactly the same way, we'd be, oh my God, those Avalanche never quit. Look at them go. It's Chicago. You expect more. But, I mean, honestly, step back, everybody. The Avs got 2 points. They won the game. Honestly, what more do you want? It's not a beauty contest. They got the job done.
Sure. I think it's just maybe you're just expecting, I dare I say, excellence from, and I don't want to sound cocky when I say that or anything like that, but you're just expecting an Avalanche team to be just polished at this point in the season. And when you're going up against a team like Chicago, you should just mop the ice with them. But they've played you well all year. So why would you expect that it's just going to happen in this game? Maybe because this is the first time you played them post-trade deadline, I believe. Yeah. Or did they play right after? It was right around there.
You played them in March 10th.
March 10th?
Yeah.
So that was right after. No, that was right before. Because wasn't the deadline the 11th? No. Where am I here? I've got to go back to where. So you played them on the 10th. So that was
a couple days after.
Was it after? Yeah. So right after. Okay.
But see, and you blanked them on that. And see, the thing is, you got to keep in mind, Avalanche fans, and this is something you got to always be a realist. If you beat the Blackhawks 7-1 and chase Spencer Knight the first period, or if you beat them in a shootout, it's 2 points regardless. You don't get style points.
Right. Yeah. So that's true. All right, let's get to our sound check and wrap this thing up. This is where Kyle and I pick one song each that summarizes the most recent game. Put these songs up on a playlist over on Spotify, which you can follow along. Just search for LOA Soundcheck. Volume number 4 is what these songs are on. So what do you got this one?
All right, now we can. The ruse is over. All the Blackhawk fans aren't listening anymore. We planned this the whole time. We lured him into this game. So I'm going with a little Eric B. and Rakeem.
Oh,
don't sweat the technique.
Oh my God. I that was when did that come out, man?
God,
That was
91, 92?
wow.
Yeah.
That is a pull. That is
Wait,
a pull.
just wait for that beginning to start. You're going to be all right.
That one will take me back. Wow. I like it though, but explain it. But
yeah, don't sweat.
explain your reasoning. Yeah.
Don't sweat the technique. You won the what more do you want from this Avalanche team? Like I was saying, with the style points, you won the game. You got the 2 points. Yes, you had some injuries, but I mean, if you got 2 points against any other opponent, that's what you're going for. You won the game. Like, we're mad that they didn't win the game prettier with more goals.
Mm-hmm.
They did the job. I get it wasn't great to watch, but you beat teams you're not supposed to, and you had to fight against teams you're not supposed to. Hockey's unpredictable. You got 2 points. You're doing the thing. Don't sweat the technique.
Yeah, it could have been a lot uglier, and we've seen a lot uglier games. So I think that's a great kind of phrase to put on this one. That's a good one. But where I'm going to go is kind of something similar. Everydayers know who my boy is. That's Mr. Chris Cornell. My band is Audio Slave, so I got to go with them for this one. This is off the Out of Exile album, and this is Doesn't Remind Me. Because it's like we were saying before, like it's kind of like, you're expecting like this more polished team, and against an opponent like Chicago, you're just expecting to go out and blow the doors off of them, and it didn't happen. So the Avs have been playing overall really good hockey. You have some hiccups here and there, but you're happy with how they've been playing. So for this one, didn't really remind me of the team that we've been used to since the post-trade deadline. So that's what I'm going with, sir.
I listen to this song probably 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah, that's it. And the video, if you've seen the video, oh man, it's a rough one. It is a rough one. So
it's just so good though.
It's military based, but it's so good. Go check it out. All right, that is going to wrap it up for today, everybody. So thank you for tuning in, making this your first listen of the day. Back at it tomorrow, because the Avs are back at it tomorrow in Columbus. So we get that Zach Werenski, Cale Makar matchup.
Yeah. Oh, you enjoyed this game? There's more.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. So, all right, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But for this one, thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. He's Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow, where you've made it through another 24 hours. Where Sidney Crosby is that much closer to being on the Colorado Avalanche. He would have helped out in this game.
He's not that close to Gretzky.